Joining us now to weigh in is Republican Congressman from New Jersey, Jeff Van Drew. Congressman, welcome. Thanks so much for coming on. We learned something from the the DOJ filing yesterday, at least that image, right? The fact that classified documents appear to have been stored at Mar-a-Lago and then were then taken in those boxes, although we don't know the exact details of what was behind the blacked out documents we saw. What are your thoughts? Is this a justification for the raid that we saw on former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate?
A raid like this has never been committed before, number one. No, it doesn't justify it, number two. Number three, that almost looks like a Hollywood production where you lay some classified papers out. We really don't know what they're about. And if they really wanted us to see something, then they wouldn't have redacted everything. The honest truth is they don't care about Hunter Biden. They don't care about the relationship that our current president, Joe Biden, had with China, had with Russia, had with Ukraine, made a lot of money for the entire family, all types of things on computers, and yet none of that matters. But this does matter. Reminds me of Russian collusion a little bit. You know, that was the big story they were pushing before an election, and we know what it did, and we know how it hurt. And now we know we have the midterm elections. And again, they're doing the same thing. I'm not saying all the FBI agents and all the people that are in district offices, these are a lot of fine and good people, but the people at the top are not what they should be. I've said this before. Washington, D.C. is like an old rotten egg. Donald Trump cracked it open and released all the sulfuric gas and allowed us to see and smell everything that's going on in Washington, and it's bad, and it's not good, and it's wrong, and so much of it is fictional. We don't really care about the real big bad things. We're just trying to go after one man, and they have an obsession with him because they're afraid of him.
No doubt Trump was a Washington outsider. He shook up the politics in Washington, D.C. But there are some questions about what was taken, right, and the fact that it wasn't handed over, the fact that his attorneys had claimed that there wasn't any additional documents there. And that's what spurred sort of this search warrant that then eventually led to agents taking out boxes of classified information. What do you make of the Trump claim, essentially, that he had executive privilege over the matter, or the fact that he had declassified these documents? I mean, is that a realistic option? Could he just have declared them declassified and therefore they were declassified?
Well, both are an option, and both are appropriate, and both probably happened. They were declassified, and he did claim executive privilege and has the right to do that. The real issue here, though, is why now? Why right before an election? Why not weeks ago, months ago? Why not when they were having negotiations and discussions just press harder, or just literally say to the president, look, you know, we're coming in. I mean, there's things that we want to see. This is just the typical politics of Washington, D.C. That picture you showed, just think about it. It's just to scare people. You can vaguely see in the distance the words classified or warning or whatever they have on the particular document. It's to frighten people and lead them to believe actually things that are not, you know. So this is nothing new. It's the same old thing. I frankly think people are getting tired of it. And I also think if you were to poll for it, you'd find that people would say, you know what, we've had enough. You know what people want to know about? They want to know about formula. They want to know about the border. They want to know about inflation. They want to know why they can afford less than they ever could before. They want to still know why gas prices are twice as much. They want to know why we had to lower the intellectual standards for our police and for our military, and we're not going to have the same quality of people coming in because of the way that they are treated. They want to know why Afghanistan happened. That's what they want to know.
Those are definitely issues that Americans are focusing on. But though, if we go back to that photograph, again, we don't know what is behind the top secret label. We don't have an idea as to what these documents are as they are laid out and photographed. But I think if you can zoom out, maybe you can't see in this image, but there is like a framed Time magazine that is also in that box, something that, of course, anyone who could go out and purchase a magazine would be able to get their hands on. But we don't know what these top secret documents are. We're going to keep an eye on it. You mentioned mentioned inflation, the cost of living, right? It's just so much right now, 40-year high. I want to show you this. This is from NewJersey.com, little local paper here. New Jersey sales tax holiday on back-to-school supplies begins today. Here's everything you need to know. Just the fact that they are doing a sales tax holiday on back-to-school supplies, sometimes states offer this as a way to make purchasing back-to-school items a little bit more affordable. What does this tell you about how much everything is just costing these days, especially the necessities you need when you got to send kids back to school, as you see some of this on your screen?
Well, first of all, anytime that you're giving people a tax break, in this country, and certainly in the state of New Jersey, I can see a benefit to it. But this is like a drop of water in the entire Atlantic Ocean right off the coast of New Jersey. I mean, there are so many expenses, and people are paying more for construction materials. They're paying more for automobiles, used and new. They're paying more for food. They're paying more for just about everything they buy. And so folks will, some folks will say, some Democrats will say, well, gee, their income's going up. They're getting, they're making more. In no way is it keeping pace with the inflation. And on top of it, we are in a recession, 2 quarters where the GDP is dropped. And on top of that, we're finding that not only is everything costing more and we are in a recession, but that we have other economic issues with our supply chain and people can't get the parts they need. Funny anecdotal story. Obviously, in my home, we have a washer and dryer. Both of them, coincidentally, some parts broke at the same time. It's been 2 weeks now. They're trying to get the parts. They're relatively new machines. They just can't get the parts for them. And hopefully, eventually they will. But that's typical for what Americans are going through. Let's make our own stuff. Let's manufacture things. Let's be strong. Let's be number one. Let's have a real energy portfolio. What they're trying to do, and I know it because I know politics, is they're trying to keep our eye off the ball as Americans. And we have, as American voters, we have to keep our eye on the ball with the real issues are. And they're all the issues that I've named here and many more. And, that FBI doing such a great job there, they did a real great job, didn't they, when they went after mothers and they went after, families for believing that it was their child and their choice what they did in school and that they had some kind of a voice. They were considered, dangerous people. People are getting tired of it.
Yeah.
It's time for a change.
Well, voters will have that opportunity in November when they come out for those midterm elections.
Yes, they will.
New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew joining us this morning. Thank you, sir. We appreciate your time today.
Always my pleasure.
Thank you.